Hi, I'm Shinobi. I woke up this morning and I really wanted a bacon egg biscuit. But I didn't feel like really getting in my car, driving through traffic, sitting in drive-thru and waiting for them to hopefully make my biscuit nice and fresh and tasty. So I decided I'd check it out and see if I could actually make them at home quicker than what it would take to pack up, go and get them, and get on back to the house. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Welcome to my kitchen. Well, let's rip right into this. We're going to go ahead and set our stove to 425 degrees. Alright, now for this recipe, we're going to make a buttermilk biscuit. And there are many different types of buttermilk that you can use for this. I have a buttermilk that is 4 tablespoons of buttermilk powder for 1 cup of water. Now, I know that there's a bunch of different ways to make buttermilk. And some of them like to let it, you mix it together, you let it sit, and then it kind of creates that buttermilk because it's got a kind of, I don't know what the word is for it, kind of like fat. So what we're going to do is, I know this type doesn't need to do it, but I like to go ahead and mix it up and let it sit. That way if there is any active ingredients that need to kind of get activated, we're good to go. So now we got that mixed, we're going to go ahead and get our giant bowl. Well, it doesn't need to be a giant bowl, but a big enough bowl, because we're going to go ahead and we're going to mix all our stuff together in this bowl. And we're going to start off with our flour. We're going to go ahead and put in 2.5 cups of flour. Got our flour in there. Now, the other active ingredient is going to be baking powder. So we're going to get our baking powder. We're going to go ahead and measure them out. I'm a little free with a flour. I can do 2.5, a little bit less, a little bit more, that's fine. But with the baking powder, I'm a little more exact. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And we're going to get some sugar. We're going to put in 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now usually I would add salt to it, but the butter that I'm using is salted, so I will not add salt to this. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up the dry ingredients. Now this is where it gets interesting, because we are about to go ahead and use our 8 tablespoons of butter. Now, I'm pulling butter that I've put in the freezer. And the reason being is I want to keep this as cold as possible. So I have a cheese grater. I'm going to go ahead and grate the butter into my flour, baking powder, sugar mixture. And what I'm doing is I'm using a cheese grater, because what that's going to do is it's going to break down the butter into little bits, so when I mix it together, the butter and the flour are going to mix together really good. Now, if you have a Cuisinart will do well, or if you have like a KitchenAid mixer, you can put the attachment on. And basically, we want to use a frozen butter because honestly, it really flakes in pretty good, and it really, when your biscuit bakes, the butter puts off steam, which makes it rise, and the butter also gets trapped into there to get all that flavor. So let's go ahead and mix in our little butter slices. The only thing is with that cheese grater, I wish I would have floured it up a little bit, because it gets really hard to get all that butter off there once it's been grinded in. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to slowly mix in our buttermilk mixture. So now we're going to kind of keep an eye. We really want to kind of be slow when we mix it in because we want to make sure that we are getting our dough. We might not have to use all this buttermilk. We kind of want our dough to be able to stick together, make it pliable so we can work with it. But we don't want it to be too soggy. And this is looking like a really good consistency right here. There is a little bit of dry spots, but we can work with that here. Okay, so we have our flour, we have our baking powder, we have our sugar, we've put our butter in, and now we've put in our buttermilk. So now, we're going to do something a little bit different. Usually, you would dust down your surface and you would work on your flour, your dough, and fold it, knead it a little bit. Now, I started using parchment paper. And I started using the parchment paper because I know that the oils in your skin also work against the dough. And I don't know if you've ever heard it before, you don't want to work your dough too much, because if you work it too much, then it's going to really affect your flavor and your texture of your finished product biscuits. So I'm going to go ahead and I am actually going to sandwich this dough in between these two pieces of parchment paper. I'm going to kind of flatten it out, and I'm going to go ahead and roll it out to be able to work with the dough from here. But we will do a little bit of folding in, and we'll make sure that our flour and our moistures are all kind of mixed together. I just don't want to overwork the dough. So since this dough is really cold, that's another thing, is I really don't want to work with it too much because the heat from my hands is going to transfer. We have that frozen butter in there, and we want to keep it as cold as possible, because if that butter starts to melt inside the dough, it's just really going to kind of make it messy. And that's where we're really looking to make it active when we cook it. Let me get this rolling pin. Now we're going to roll this down, and we are looking to get about a half inch to 3/4 of an inch thickness. That's looking pretty good right there. Now, when we do our biscuits, there's a number of different ways to do it. I'm not a frivolous person, so I am going to use a jar lid. This way you don't have to spend all this fancy money on all these different shapes and sizes. So go ahead and use this jar lid. You could also use like a glass or a coffee cup. Well, the coffee cup's kind of got a little bit of a wider rim. But I found that this lid works really well. It makes a decent sized biscuit. So I can put my food items into it. Now I'm going to get my baking sheet. With this baking sheet, we're going to kind of copy that same thing. We're going to put a little bit of parchment paper inside that baking sheet. And the reason why I do that is I don't like to do dishes more than I have to. So if I put in this parchment paper, put in my biscuit, I don't have to clean this pan. Now look at this biscuit. That's about the thickness that you want. It's going to be a nice sized biscuit too. And with these biscuits, yeah. Now with the dough, let's go ahead. think the stove's ready. Let's go ahead and throw these in the oven real quick. As those bake, I'm going to go ahead and put on 15 minutes. So now this leftover dough, see, this is a beauty. Because I haven't been using a floured surface, I haven't added all this extra flour to my dough. So it's still very pliable. It's still the same consistency as the original dough that I made. Now, I can go ahead and roll these out. And it's looking like I could probably get about 4 more biscuits. But I don't need them, so what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and take this dough. This dough actually will be good. If you throw it in the refrigerator, we can go ahead and use it tomorrow or in about 2 days. I wouldn't leave it in the refrigerator more than 2 days. But now the one thing that's going to happen is this dough will be good, but your biscuits will not turn out the same way as they are on the first day that you're using this dough. I've kind of realized that when I save my dough for the next day, the biscuits still turn out really good and really flavorful and really tasty, but they do not rise the same way. So let's get that wrapped up and seal it up, and I'm going to throw these in the refrigerator. Maybe I'll make some fresh biscuits tomorrow morning and use up that dough. Always good to have beautiful fresh biscuits. Look at those. See, they're just rising like crazy. These are going to be some delicious biscuits. Alright, so as those are cooking, remember, we're making a bacon egg biscuit. I'm going to go ahead and while those biscuits are cooking, let's go ahead and throw in some bacon. I think pretty much everybody likes a bacon egg biscuit. I'm going to kind of bypass the cheese on this one today. That's good bacon. Yeah, I think we're looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and pull this bacon off. Our biscuits are about ready. There we go. So let's go ahead and get the biscuits. Now I just put our bacon off to the side. We're gonna use that pan for bacon, or for our eggs. But let's go ahead and butter up these biscuits really good. It's gonna help lock in some more tasty butter. Soften up the tops a little bit. Nice to do them while they're nice and hot. We're going to have some fresh bacon egg biscuits here. Now look at how that rose up pretty good. Nice fresh biscuit there. Let's go ahead and pop one open here. For those of you with the advanced computers, get right up close. You should be able to smell how delicious those biscuits are. Alright, now let's go ahead and get our eggs. Now I kind of do eggs a little bit different. When I make my scrambled eggs, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little bit of milk. It's going to kind of help make them nice and fluffy. So when I throw my egg and milk mixture, I'm going to go ahead and scramble up the egg in the the bowl here, and we're gonna pour it right into that pan that we made our bacon in. Now I did get a lot of that bacon grease out of there because I don't want the eggs to be really greasy. Alright, so we're gonna take our biscuit, gonna open our biscuit up, we're gonna get our bacon. Put our bacon in that biscuit while our egg is cooking. Alright, now let's go ahead and flip our egg. If you flip the egg, it doesn't take much longer, and then you can fold it in half and fold it in half again. And that's how we make our bacon egg biscuit. Good morning, and welcome to the kitchen. I'm Shinobi. I woke up this morning, and I had a hankering for a... Good morning, I'm Shinobi. I was thinking about having a nice bed. Good morning, I'm Shinobi. I was waking up thinking I want to have a biscuit with egg and bacon on it this morning. I just don't feel like leaving the house. So I'm going to show you how you can make a bacon egg biscuit yourself, and you can have more than one.